You wake up, look around, and realize it's the same room, the same thoughts, the same regrets as last year. You promised yourself things would be different this time, but nothing has changed. Deep down, you feel the quiet panic. Years are passing, and you're still in the exact same place. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You want more, but something keeps pulling you back. If that ache in your chest feels familiar, stay with me. Today we're going to face the brutal truth about why you're still stuck, and more importantly, how Stoicism shows the way out. If this resonates even a little, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button right now to tell YouTube this message matters, and subscribe with notifications on so you never miss the tools that can change everything. Let's begin. Number 1. You confuse motion with progress. The first brutal truth is that most of us are busy, but we're not moving forward. We mistake activity for achievement. We read books, watch videos, make plans, but nothing actually changes in our lives. The Stoics saw this clearly. Epictetus said we should focus only on what is in our control. Everything else is noise. Being busy feels safe because it lets us pretend we're trying. We scroll motivational content for hours, tell ourselves we're learning, and end the day exhausted but no closer to our goals. The comfort of motion protects us from the discomfort of real progress. Real progress is quiet and often invisible at first. It looks like saying no to distractions, sitting down to do the hard thing when no one is watching, and finishing what you start. It feels boring compared to the rush of starting something new. The Stoics remind us that virtue is action, not intention. Reading about discipline doesn't make you disciplined. Planning a workout doesn't build muscle. Only doing the thing, day after day, changes who you are. Most people stay stuck because they live in the preparation phase forever. They collect tools, knowledge, and excuses instead of using what they already have. The gap between knowing and doing is where dreams die. If you want to break free, pick one thing today that moves the needle and do it imperfectly. Stop preparing to live and start living. The Stoics would tell you, begin now with what you have where you are. Number 2, you are addicted to comfort. The second reason you're stuck is simple. You love comfort more than growth. Your mind and body have learned to prioritize short-term ease over long-term freedom. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, yet we still choose the soft path every time. Comfort feels like safety, but it's actually slow poison. Every time you hit snooze, scroll instead of work, or choose the easy conversation over the honest one, you train yourself to stay small. Comfort is the silent agreement you make to remain exactly where you are. Growth lives on the other side of discomfort. It's in the cold shower, the difficult conversation, the extra hour of focused work when you're tired. The Stoics embraced hardship on purpose because they knew it built strength. Your brain will fight you every step of the way. It will whisper that you deserve rest, that tomorrow will be better, that one more episode won't hurt. That voice isn't evil. It's just trying to protect you from pain. But protection from pain is protection from progress. The brutal truth is that no one escapes this. Even the greatest minds battled the pull of comfort. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself every morning to get out of bed and do what needed to be done. If an emperor needed reminders, so do we. Start small. Choose one uncomfortable action today and do it without negotiation. Over time, your tolerance for discomfort will grow, and so will your life. Freedom isn't found in comfort. It's forged in resistance. Number 3, you blame the external world. The third reason you're stuck is that you keep pointing outside yourself for the problem. The job, the economy, your childhood, your partner, the government. There's always something or someone to blame. Epictetus cut through this with one clear line. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Blaming feels powerful because it removes responsibility. If the problem is out there, then you don't have to change. You get to stay the victim and keep all your old habits. But victims don't build the lives they want. Every external obstacle is also a training ground. The Stoics saw difficulties as opportunities to practice virtue. patience, courage, wisdom. What you call a barrier, they called raw material for a stronger soul. When you blame others, you give them power over your life. You hand over the steering wheel and then complain about the direction. No one is coming to save you. No circumstance will ever be perfect. Waiting for better conditions is waiting forever. Take radical ownership. Ask yourself, what part of this is mine to control? Your effort, your attitude, your choices, those are always yours. Start there. The moment you stop blaming, you start building. The world doesn't owe you fairness, but it will respond to your actions. Act like the person you want to become, regardless of what's happening around you. That is the Stoic path, and the only path out. Number 4, you fear judgment more than regret. The fourth brutal truth is that you care too much about what others think. You dim your dreams to fit someone else's comfort zone. You stay quiet, play small, and choose the safe path because the thought of judgment hurts more than the slow death of regret. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The judgment you fear is usually imaginary. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to think about you for long. And even if they do judge, their opinion changes nothing about your worth. Staying stuck to avoid criticism is trading a lifetime of meaning for a moment of approval. You'll wake up years from now with the heavy weight of what if, wondering why you let strangers live your life for you. The Stoics lived for inner virtue, not external praise. They asked, would I still do this if no one ever knew? That question cuts through fear like a blade. Live for your own respect, not the crowd's applause. People will always have opinions. Some will cheer you, some will criticize. Both are temporary. What lasts is the quiet knowledge that you lived true to yourself. That is worth any discomfort. Start speaking your truth, taking your shots, building your life. The right people will respect your courage. The wrong ones will fall away. Either way, you win your freedom. Number 5, you haven't decided who you want to be. The deepest reason you're stuck is that you haven't truly decided. You flirt with change, but never commit. You want the results without becoming the person who earns them. Marcus Aurelius wrote every day to remind himself who he chose to be. Decision is the starting point of all transformation. Until you decide, no excuses, no backdoors. You'll keep drifting. Half-hearted effort produces half-lived lives. The Stoics understood that character is built by repeated choice. Decide who you're going to be and then act like it every single day. Not when you feel like it, not when it's easy. Every day. Identity drives behavior more than motivation ever could. Most people wait for certainty or perfect conditions before deciding. But certainty comes from action, not thought. Decide now, imperfectly, and let your actions shape you into the person you claim to be. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret is permanent. Choose your pain wisely. Today can be the day everything changes. Not because the world shifted, but because you finally decided. The Stoics are watching. Make them proud. Number 6, you chase the wrong goals. The 6th reason you remain stuck is that you're climbing the wrong ladder. You pursue goals that look good on the outside, money, status, approval, but they don't align with your true nature. The Stoics taught that happiness comes from living according to nature, not from chasing shadow society calls success. Many of us inherit goals from parents, friends, or culture without ever asking if they're truly ours. We grind for years toward a life that, even if achieved, would leave us empty. The exhaustion comes not just from effort, but from effort pointed in the wrong direction. True fulfillment arises when your daily actions match your deepest values. Seneca warned that wealth accumulated without inner purpose becomes a burden. A big house, a fancy title, or a full bank account means nothing if your soul feels hollow. Pause and reflect. If no one ever knew about your achievements, would you still want them? Most people never ask this question, so they spend decades building a life that impresses strangers instead of nourishing themselves. The Stoic path invites you to define success on your own terms. Courage, wisdom, justice, and self-control. These are the only riches that cannot be taken away. Everything else is preferred or dispreferred, never essential. Begin stripping away the borrowed dreams. Write down what truly matters to you when fear and comparison are silent. Then realign your effort toward that quiet inner voice. The journey will feel lighter, and progress will finally feel real. Number 7, you avoid looking at your shadows. The 7th brutal truth is that you refuse to face the parts of yourself you don't like. Your flaws, past mistakes, hidden fears, they sit in the dark, quietly steering your life. The Stoics practiced relentless self-examination to bring light to these shadows. We all carry wounds and patterns we pretend aren't there. Anger we justify, envy we disguise, insecurities we mask with arrogance or people-pleasing. As long as they remain unexamined, they control our choices more than our conscious mind. Avoiding self-reflection feels easier in the moment. It protects the fragile story we tell ourselves about who we are. But every avoidance strengthens the chains. Growth begins only when we sit quietly and look without flinching. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not for fame, but as a mirror to confront his own weaknesses each day. He knew that true power comes from knowing yourself fully, light and dark, and choosing virtue anyway. Facing your shadows doesn't mean hating yourself. It means accepting the raw material you have to work with and beginning the patient task of improvement. Compassion and honesty must walk together here. Start a simple evening practice. Ask what you avoided today, where you lied to yourself, and what fear drove your actions. Write it down without judgment. Over time, the hidden becomes known, the unknown becomes workable, and freedom replaces stagnation. Number 8, you wait for motivation instead of building discipline. The 8th reason you're stuck is that you treat motivation like the fuel for change. You wait to feel ready before acting, but feelings are fleeting visitors. The Stoics relied on reason and discipline, not mood, to guide their lives. Motivation comes and goes like weather. Some days it rains inspiration, most days it doesn't. If you only act when motivated, you'll spend most of your life waiting. Discipline is the decision to act regardless of how you feel. We romanticize the burst of energy that comes with a new year or a powerful video. But real change is built in the ordinary moments when no one is watching and excitement has long faded. That is where character is forged. Epictetus taught that we are not disturbed by events, but by our opinions about them. Apply this to motivation. The opinion that you need to feel good to act is the real obstacle. Drop the opinion, and the obstacle vanishes. Discipline feels heavy at first because it goes against years of conditioning. But like a muscle, it grows stronger with use. Each small act of showing up when you don't want to adds quiet strength that compounds over time. Begin with the smallest possible commitment and keep it sacred. 5 minutes of work, 1 page read, 1 push-up, done no matter what. Chain enough of these together, and you become the kind of person who no longer waits for permission from fleeting emotions. Number 9, you surround yourself with the wrong voices. The 9th truth is painful but clear. The people you spend the most time with shape who you become. If your circle complains, excuses, and stays small, you will absorb that energy like a sponge. The Stoics chose their companions carefully, knowing influence flows both ways. We like to believe we're immune to influence, that we can stay ambitious while surrounded by mediocrity. But human beings are social creatures. We mirror those closest to us without noticing. Your standards slowly drop to match the room. Many stay stuck because leaving familiar voices feels like betrayal. Family, old friends, co-workers, they love you, but their fears and limits become your ceiling if you never step away. Love them, but don't let their gravity hold you down. Seneca advised seeking the company of the wise, even if only through books. Read the great minds daily. Let their courage and clarity seep into you. You become the silent conversation partner in an inner council of excellence. You don't always need to cut people out. Sometimes raising your own standards lifts everyone. But be honest. If certain relationships consistently pull you backward, create distance with kindness and without apology. Curate your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. Seek mentors, communities, and voices that challenge you to grow. Over time, the new normal becomes excellence, and stagnation becomes impossible. Number 10, you believe time is infinite. The final and most sobering reason you remain stuck is that part of you still believes you have unlimited time. You treat days like an endless resource, putting off the hard choices for someday. The Stoics practiced Memento Mori, remember you will die, to live with urgency and purpose. We push serious change into a vague future because facing our limited time is uncomfortable. We tell ourselves there's always tomorrow, next month, next year. But tomorrows turn into decades faster than we expect. Every master was once a beginner who refused to waste another day. They understood that time is the only resource we can never earn back. Once spent, it's gone forever. This knowledge isn't meant to frighten, it's meant to awaken. Seneca wrote that life is long if you know how to use it. Most people don't lack time. They lack focus and courage. They scatter their hours on distractions and wonder where their life went. Look at your calendar and habits honestly. Are they the actions of someone who knows their days are numbered? If not, today is the day to adjust. Death doesn't have to be near to be useful. It only has to be certain. Live as if this were your last year. Not in reckless abandon, but in deliberate choice. Do the work, speak the truth, mend a relationship, begin the project. The urgency of mortality is the greatest gift for breaking free from stagnation. We've walked through 10 brutal truths together. Each one is a mirror the Stoics held up to themselves every single day. They didn't flinch from what they saw, and neither should you. These truths aren't meant to shame you. They're meant to free you. The life you keep imagining doesn't live in some distant future. It begins in the choices you make once this video ends. The same room, the same thoughts, the same regrets don't have to greet you tomorrow morning. You already know enough. You already have enough. The only thing missing has been the quiet, firm decision to act like the person you claim you want to become. Look back at the 10 reasons we covered. Mistaking motion for progress, clinging to comfort, blaming the world, fearing judgment, chasing borrowed goals, hiding from your shadows, waiting for motivation, listening to the wrong voices, and pretending time is endless. One of them struck deeper than the others. You felt it in your chest. That's the one to start with today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Pick the smallest possible action that proves you're no longer willing to stay stuck, and do it before the sun sets. The Stoics teach us that greatness isn't found in grand gestures. It's built in ordinary moments of courage when no one is watching. Nothing outside you needs to change first. The job can stay difficult. The past can stay painful. The people around you can stay exactly as they are. Your power lives in what is always yours. Your judgments, your effort, your next step. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet reminded himself each dawn that he had only one task: to be a good man today. If he could find freedom in that simplicity, so can you. The chains you feel aren't made of iron. They're made of habits and stories you can begin rewriting right now. This is the Stoic promise. A life of meaning is available to anyone willing to face the truth and act anyway. You faced it today. Now rise, close this video, and take the first step. I'll be here waiting for the next one, ready to walk further with you. Until then, stay calm, stay honest, and stay in the arena. You are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to believe. Prove it, starting now.